Yo. What is going on, guys? Shokri, Poodlestein, Corsefit, yo. How you guys doing? Vince, what's up, man? How you doing? I just realized my webcam zoomed in. Give me a second here. Raggedy, what's up, man? Right. Oh, yeah. Oh, geez. Oh, boy. This is going to be Ray Lights. What's up, man? BTVR, yo. This is going to be an interesting one. Going to be trying to do critiques. Luan, hey, thanks for the 2 months. How are you doing? We're going to be trying to do critiques, but now I'm using Affinity Photo. So this is good. This is going to be a ride. You know, watch me... I'm a girl. I mean, cool. Like, I assume there's more than one in here. How are you doing, Ray Lights? Oh, I say hey man to everyone. I think if I said hey girl, that might be a little strange sounding. Right? It would be a little like, is he okay? Let's see here. So yes, we've got stream critiques today, so that you so you know. Let me get a link in chat here for you guys, just in case. And go there if you want to post stuff to get feedback on. And yeah. Hey, dude. Yeah, dude's interesting because it keeps going back and forth between like being a masculine and then like non-masculine, depending on like the time of the. I think it's like every 5 years it switches, maybe. Quite interesting. And just say soup. What's soup? Soup. Greener Plants, what's up? How you doing? Poly Socks, hello. Anyways, Ray Lights, I don't know. I feel like you've been in here before, but welcome either way. Just say guys. Would be pretty interesting if you could put pronouns next to usernames. Because then I would know, like I'd know immediately, you know what I mean? Because to me, everyone is a username until they say otherwise. Hello, human. We can't guarantee that either, Shokri. All right, maybe I should lower this. I am a username. Hello, guy. Hello, guy. Shukri. True. Um, let's see how this works. Let's see if I can figure this out. I'm gonna open some of these pieces first, and then we'll start looking at them. We don't have too many yet, but I assume you guys will just start posting away as I go through these. Yeah. Okay. I You'll hear it. You'll hear me say it often. I'm like, yeah, man. Yeah, that's dope, dude. Nice. And depending on where you're at in the U.S., will change the ma'am and man. But yeah, you'll hear me say ma'am occasionally. Yeah, man, that's dope. Is the Dynasty Bingo card? uh, okay, so first up, we've got Nick. Good old Nick. Oh, my camera's up here now. Okay. Yeah, so Nick, apologies for the splash images, but looking for any modeling shape. The splash of images? Oh, I see. I see what happened there. But looking for any modeling, shape, form critiques. Oh, this is for the Sierra Division asset. Dude, nice. Dude, nice. Dude, now I can't stop hearing it now. How often I say dude. You would think I could surf or something. We're looking at people's work. So, I mean, generally this looks pretty cool. Details are nice and they're not like too bold. Let's see if we can get some other angles on here. I think maybe I would. Ah, this looks cool. So you like the weight and detail that you've got going on up here. I assume you're going to get that going on here. I would think about wood, this wood material, and like the crevices being a bit more um, deeper, like just the grain being a little bit more exaggerated. And of course, the bottom part here is going to look closer to this. Um, but yeah. Sculpt bigger shapes in the wood. Fine details can be added in Painter. 100%. Yeah, you want to benefit from the fact that you're going to be sculpting uh, to get as much like macro normal information in as possible, and it's your opportunity to affect uh, the low poly in some cases, right? So if it's a quite organic, doing those macro shapes is just going to lend itself better to affecting the final low poly version later. But otherwise, I mean, this is looking pretty sick. Don't be afraid to go like higher res, because if you're already sculpting this type of detail, you don't want any of that type of faceting that you see going on here. Yeah, Dude S. There's also Dudette, but like people get affected by that one sometimes. Some people don't enjoy that. Brotatoes. Thomas, what's up, man? Good to see you, man. Cube, hello. Beta Razors, good to see you as well. What's up, Joe? Yeah, so I mean, I think you're on the right track. I would just look at the weight of what's going on um, with all of your details here. Maybe the chains themselves could be a little bit thicker, the chain loops. And if you look at the size of the beads on the top here, getting the bead size on these to be similar in scale is going to help you just with like being consistent. Of course, watch out for the stretching, but I think you'll get there. I'm seeing all the other details there looking pretty good. Elena, yo. Saba, hello. Hello. Yeah, nice. Nice. Very detailed. Yeah, I would even exaggerate this a little bit more, having this come out even further. Just think about the silhouette and what you can do with it. Hello, hello, Suplex. Um, yeah. Let's go on to the next one. So Ben Plant, are you 300 plant, sir? That's you, right? Hey, I'd love some feedback on my new blockout. Mainly been focusing on matching the reference scale, composition, camera. Uh, dude, those faces. Ugh. Feedback on that or general tips on blockout would be great. Um, that's pretty good. I think the thickness here maybe it'd be a bit thicker, but the scale is like crazy. The only reason you know it's that big as well is because they add the character in, right? So you're probably going to need to make sure that you get a character in there. When it comes to the heads, it looks like there's two types of heads. And then you've got the dragon, like serpent head over here as well. And then is this like a guy with his head here and his feet are up? Dude, that's wild. Whatever's going on there. Um, Crazy. You could get away with just doing the one face and then duping it up here. I think that's totally acceptable. Just remember when you scale it down that the details that you'd sculpted for the smaller head or the bigger head will shrink down. So you want that consistency. So maybe do the broad pass of like the macro shapes, just like we were talking about with the first critique. So that way, when you scale it down, you can work on the micro details, but it's not going to look like of the same thing, but scaled down. Dahoon, what's up, man? Good to see you. But yeah, I think where where you're at with your details and your blockout are actually much further detailed than you would normally see with a blockout, when it comes to the heads at least. Everything else is pretty consistent with what I would consider a blockout, though. Yeah, sick. Sick. Maybe these wall slats going into the rock a little bit further is going to be something you might want to do. It looks like you've taken some liberties, though, and made your own calls on some stuff, which is totally fine. And I actually promote that. I think you're going to get something that's a little bit more yours, even though it's being derived from a concept, or like you're kind of taking it and making it in your own image, in the way you want. But yeah, don't forget the head here as well. That's cool. Saba, dude. Saba up next. Is it this one? Yes, there we go. Man, it's so soft. So you've been working on this scene for quite a while. I actually think you're pretty close to done. If I click on this, it zooms in quite a bit. I think this is the 100% zoom as well. So some stuff I would mention is there's some seam details here. We got a little bit of this, like, whatever's happening on the wall texture. Looks a little squished, right? Otherwise, when you zoom out, it feels pretty good. Be careful about this aliasing effect you got going on with the wall. Oh, maybe that's intentional. It looks very generated, and there's some just the seam stuff that's happening. Yeah, this scene's been coming along really nicely. It looks like you decided to keep the chandelier up there, so that's cool. So the things that stick out to me, other than the seams from maybe the modular set, is this dresser back here, and then this one as well. This one looks like it might be a bit too dark in the albedo, and then the one in the bottom, this one over here, the roughness feels a little off. I'm not sure why. It doesn't feel right. Like maybe the normals of the mesh are warped a little bit. from like how the smoothing of the geometry is. I could be wrong, but it just feels more rounded in the highlight than I'm expecting. Yeah. No, this feels really good. Think about the layer of dust that's happening in here as well. Like I would expect this to be pretty dusty. The fireplace seems a bit high. Yeah, you don't really have oh, there is a sense of scale with the chair here. You mean the opening of it seems a bit high. Some fireplaces can get that tall, but I if it was lowered, it wouldn't look strange. What is levitating? The ash shovel? Oh yes. It might just be a contact shadow issue, but like the shadow there. Definitely check for floating anything. And when you have stuff that's under, like this, the stuff on top of the dresser looks like it might be floating as well over here. But like stuff that's under things like this, that gets hard to explain why that's like that. It's usually better to just move stuff out of the way a little bit. And like even though this dresser is against the wall, this place is kind of looks forgotten, right? So could be interesting to tilt or make all of the even larger objects like this dresser a little bit more disheveled. So like offset, or like someone grabbed it, pulled the corner forward so that they could get behind it for something and then just left it there. I think you're pretty close to done though. Like it's almost a little diminishing returns if you continue to like polish it over and over again, right? So I would look at the points there, do some breakdown images, and just post it and be like proud of what you've created and move on to the next piece. Keeping that momentum up is going to be pretty helpful. But yeah, I see what you're talking about, Polystock. So the door frame versus the fireplace. Maybe it is high, because normally you don't see a straight line like this, or like fireplaces usually have some type of a guard at the bottom these days. But this is older, right? So they're not going to really think about it like that. Maybe the marble would come out a little bit further for the plate at the bottom. That way there's no like, could be the focal length as well for sure. Yeah, where it starts stretching the door frame. It's pretty sick. Oh, Chris, what is going on here? Chris McNally. I'm practicing some realistic texturing. I'm going for an old school baseball glove. So here's the reference. Trying to learn more about PBR and making nice roughness maps. I've attached the main reference. All right, and then we've got a video as well. Are you using a oh, nice? I'm like looking at the wrong bar here. Are you using a detail normal for this? Whoops. I guess so. For me, the only thing I would say is the you can see like the shape, the form of the glove itself. Let me look at your reference again. It's doing it as well. Interesting. It's just like looking at where the sew lines are at and how much it affects the. You can see like on yours here. So like right here, these sew lines, like where they're weaved in between. Like look how big the openings are and how much it affects the shape of the leather that is the glove itself. So it's like those details, watching out for those. And really like letting the creases, like there's some crease normal information that you'd be getting in these areas. And the discoloring, the dirt, the drying, all that stuff is really going to add to it. Right now, it kind of looks like you've got like the base pass on it, and you're missing the like the more like finite normal information and like differences in the surface, especially on this inside area. It could really benefit from you having like a detail normal mask that allows you to control the strength, like a black and white range. So white being full strength of detail normal and black being completely flat. And like wherever there's a lot of contact with the mitt over time, maybe you smooth it out a bit more. So like maybe the detail normal gets a little bit like half strength in the core area here. And then there's like creases and stuff that you're either stamping in Substance Painter or sculpting in the high poly. Also, don't be afraid to exaggerate the lengths of these finger tops. So in yours, they're all pretty level. And in real gloves, they tend to actually be kind of more cupped. Like the fingers get a little bit longer. Like the pinky area is actually probably the longer part of the glove. But this is definitely a more old school one. You can see like the middle finger is a bit longer. So getting those differences is going to help a lot, I think. And get that red into your I don't even know what you would call this, the string, the leather string. Pretty sick. Pretty nice, man. It's cool to see some realistic stuff from you. I know you're quite a stylized type of guy. All right, Thomas. You can also shift between videos via arrows in Discord. No need to. Oh yeah, I know. Usually I'm trying to go to a specific spot in the video though. Jasper, what's up, man? Thomas. So I've been working on the scene where I'm still figuring out things, and so a lot of little things is very, very whip. But would love to get your overall thoughts on it so far. Let's see here. So I'd probably, with the amount of grass that's in here, I'd probably try and figure out what other organic stuff you want coming in from like the windows, or just like the wear and tear, the aging. Like with this type of grass and I'm assuming this place is pretty humid or has like a higher humidity in the air. So the wallpaper is definitely going to be peeling off or like bubbling, and like, the strips would be kind of like have larger bubbles, and maybe some of them even peeled all the way to the ground. Depends how long this has been abandoned, but I assume with this amount of like growth of grass, it's quite a long time. With that said, I think I would move some stuff around and make it far less orderly. Like where the chair is at. Like I would even just rotate or like lay a chair down just to break up the ground. Right now, all of the lines are doing this. I would maybe try and separate this room on the floor. Maybe give that a different material back there or something. It's very orderly, considering the state of the situation here. Yeah, I would offset, tilt, and dishevel everything just a little bit. Like, is this a photo frame? It looks like it is. It looks like this one, but like right side up. It's strange that it's narrow here but wider here. I think when it's horizontal, you see it more often. I would slightly tilt that. It would also be interesting to just throw that on the ground and then just have like they have like frame ghosting that happens, where basically the wallpaper has been getting discolored by sunlight over time, but the wallpaper behind the painting for the longest time, or the photo, was protected from UV rays. So it would be either it'd usually be a little bit darker or lighter depending on how it looks for you. It gets normally darker because these get bleached, so they become less saturated, slightly more washed out, a little bit brighter because of it. But yeah, tipping a chair on the ground, Maybe this lamp top could be off and just placed on the table. Again, table maybe tilted. It feels like it's missing a story. Like if this table was tipped and facing you, you could see the top of the table and you could see like the coffee marks on the top of the table, you know, from the glass sitting on it, because maybe the tea set is like spilled on the ground here. Table's tipped. You can see maybe a few bullet holes in the wooden table. And then just like a chair that's, instead of it being at the table, maybe it's near the radiator. Could be nice to not have the radiator there. You have a radiator over here. Or maybe making the radiators less like in your face, just so that you get some, there's a lot of stuff going on back here. So like I'm trying to tell a story, right? So tipping the table over, facing the camera, a bit tilted to the side, some bullet holes in it. Looks like, okay, maybe there was a fight. Whatever was on the table spilled onto the ground. The chair is near the window, so whoever was in the fight, whether the one that was protecting himself or the one that was attacking, decided to sit in this chair and just kind of look outside the window. Yeah, just some getting those layers of storytelling in. Otherwise, the scene's looking pretty interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen a ceiling like that before. Curious what you want to do with that. It might benefit from more depth. Maybe like I like these slats here, these support beams, if you want to call them that, and then like just taking everything else and lifting it just a little bit more could be cool. But generally, the scale feels pretty good. The details are there. The stuff that's blockout, I would suggest just getting general colors and roughness values on them, just to see how they're contributing to the environment. Like maybe you want this to be more metally, right? More like a brass or like rusted and whatnot. Maybe the frame here is more gold like. Maybe this is like a dark metal or it's painted. The color of this, just by doing like a general color, it doesn't have to be like texture or anything like that, just a color, a roughness value, and if it's metal or not, will do a lot for helping you understand the balance of the scene. You'll immediately see like what's drawing your attention. Like even the curtains, just getting a color on them will do a lot for understanding how it's affected. Now, when it comes to the floor, you have the foliage growing in there. I like that the grass is varying in height. I would go even smaller and then definitely build like a really small set that just kind of follows these lines, so that you get like not only the patch of grass, but the fall off is more natural. Whereas like the grass was just figuring out where it could grow. Because once it starts coming through the wood like that, it's no longer really wood there. It's more like the amount of debris that's coming through the windows over time, and there's the dirt and sand and dust buildup has become large enough that it can now support like the rooting of grass. Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Those types of details, like adding the dirt under it, I would definitely, if that's your intention, that's a pretty macro choice that's happening on the overall design. That's something I would get in sooner than later, just so that you're balancing everything to the final plan you have, right? If there's gonna be dirt in that corner, you might as well put it in if you know it's gonna be there, because it helps explain a lot of like your choices as you're going forward as well. And for feedback, I don't end up rambling on about it. Yeah, depending on how old this is. What Jamie's saying is you could make a grassy corner all rotten and fallen in. Yeah, the floor could be like, even if this table is just slightly like tilted and you can see that the ground is like really softened, that could be really cool. Depends on how far you want to take it, but yeah. Some nesting seagulls. Oh, dude. Now you're speaking my Malmo language. Freaking seagulls everywhere, man. All making the best noises possible you can imagine. Um, I don't want to feedback on the roughness yet, just because when I look at it, I feel like it's its initial pass. Like there's more roughness to be had, some variation and whatnot. But I feel like you're getting your first pass on everything, so it's cool. But nice, man. No, this is coming along nicely. Think about smaller elements that you could add, kind of like the tea set, like small things that would be on the table. Because if the place was forgotten, like what's the story, right? I imagine there would be uh, quite the collection of random doodads all over this table. Angelina, yo, good to see you. All right, Joe, let's do this. So, Joe, hey, Jeremy, I've been working on this spooky school scene. I'm at a point where I'm a little lost in terms of direction. Would love to get some feedback. I plan on dirtying it up a little more and some more blood streaks going along the floor. Yeesh, blood streaks. The story is that the teacher in the school was taking some interest in an occult. And interesting. And practicing some of his findings in the school after hours. Then disappeared, and some of the forces have started to creep out in the school. Think it might add a pentagram and glitching in the static of a TV. Man, that TV on a cart thing brings back so much like weird school memories. It's like time to learn about sex ed, and we're just gonna cart this thing in with VHS tapes because that's what we got. um, TV should be 4x3. That's a good call. I would make that TV 4x3. Nice and tall, big like big rounded body. Yeah, so man, it's so difficult when you do that type of story. It's like the forces have started to creep out into the school. It's like how do you visualize that? How do you imply that that's what's happening? Uh hmm. So the school's not abandoned. The I will say that the floor feels like the normal is flipped with the way these highlights are happening. I could be wrong. Ghostly movement, maybe? Right, but what does that look like? And how would you do it if there was no video? If it was just a screenshot? So this type of topic is actually, for me, is very difficult. Fog's a good call. Fog's quite interesting. What if you had fog coming out of the screen? Just have fog coming out of the screen. And it's like pouring out and like spilling into the hallway. Hmm. Yeah, the ring vibes, but it's very like ghostly with the fog. It's a good one. So generally speaking, I would say that the normals on the ground are probably too strong. The normals on the wall seem like they maybe are okay. Maybe they could be a tad stronger. Um, the way the details meet the ceiling, these like these seams for the ceiling tiles are probably not going to be that shiny. I would maybe try and render an exit sign, as it looks like there's one there, no? I would render like an exit sign somewhere, because that'll give you like a nice red light that you can play with, that the fog can maybe be messing with. Valterra, good to see you. Yeah, so let's say the fog is coming out of the screen and spilling out on the ground. Then you have like maybe the red exit sign is kind of hitting the fog a little bit on the ground. That could be pretty cool. And you could have the faint shape of like, you know, the shoulders and the elbows, or some, maybe the elbows sticking up and like the silhouette of a head starting to come out of the fog. That sounds cool. Otherwise, I might avoid the light in the background here, depending on because it's really bright. It's warm, so there's definitely a light source back there. I don't know. It's gonna take some. I think just tweaking things and seeing how it goes. I really like the color choices you're using right now with like the blue lockers. I think keep getting everything in that you can. Maybe some of the ceiling tiles could be fallen. Depends. Like you could sequence a lot of that stuff if you're doing like the fog rolling out and like if it's animated. Maybe more small sharp lights. I wonder what those would be. I think if you were to do a video, it would be really interesting if the hallway was lit like a normal, like imagine the hallway of a high school properly lit with all the lights correctly turned on, like it's operating, but it's nighttime. You know that kind of weird feeling? You can feel that it's nighttime, even though you can't see it outside, because it's definitely dark in here, right? So there's no windows, and then have the camera just looking down this hallway, have the lights flicker a little bit and all shut off, except for maybe like one of the rooms on the side, and there's like light spilling into the hallway. Have that one turn off and the screen turn on, and then have the smoke start rolling out. It's very animated and sequence heavy, but could be really cool. But yeah, definitely look at references to know what you can put in here, because I think given this scenario, it actually tends to be very sterile, like just your regular school hallway. Maybe some like decals to show like how kids are going in and out of these hallways all the time. But yeah, yeah, that's kind of that's a tough one. I don't know why this stuff is here. And the highlight of the I'm imagining you're using a rectangle light here. Doesn't match the emissive of the screen currently. I would probably invest in a screen shader where you can like actually render out all the pixels. So is that some of the ceiling tiles? Ah, the ceiling tiles, if I remember correctly, are actually quite thin. Is there a leak? Aha, I see. Okay. Yeah, so a lot of the stuff you don't know unless you see the movement or like the puddle around the bucket and whatnot. This clock is huge. I don't know if they would be that well. They tend to be pretty big. Hmm. Usually, the ceiling they'll paint a line that matches the color of the school color. So maybe like the color on the floor here, or the color of the lockers. You just do like one brick height of color on the top here. That'll help connect your ceiling to your wall a little bit more naturally. Timeout. Timeout. Anyways, really cool. I'm gonna keep going because it looks like you guys are posting like crazy now. Um, fire, fire extinguisher is a good idea, I think. Okay, what are we looking at here? Got a bunch of images. So we got saw reference and an actual saw. And then renders. Look at this. This is Gallow. What's up, Gallow? Man, that's one hell of a display for saw. That's pretty cool. No problem, Joe. Hope that helps, man. So what I would say for this saw is maybe yours is a bit here it's interesting because it looks more saturated than this one. But yours might be a tad too saturated. There's also this like scraping line action going on in the metal here. Let's see if that's it's a little bit there. There's some details that are hard to explain. Man, saws are so weird. What a weird thing. Oh, what's going on here? Okay, so I'd love some feedback on texturing the saw. I'm struggling a bit with trying to keep the albedo values of my metal PBR correct and maintaining the contrast that I see in the reference. You can see a darker version, which would be what I had already, and a lighter version, which is what I've been retouching to make the PBR correct. Using the painter filter to check. Also added some references. Sorry, I won't be able to be in the stream. So, okay. So we have the darker one, and then we have the lighter one. So the lighter one definitely looks more accurate to this. Given the fact that it's a saw, these like directional scratches aren't normally in the roughness. I can't tell if it's in your roughness or not. But I would remove those from the roughness and actually put them in the normal as vector changes. Like you can do a brushed metal effect. That'll give you a lot of like what you're seeing in the reference here. And there's a little bit of dirtying that happens inside of it that can probably go into the albedo. But this is largely flat, and a lot of this like discoloring is just roughness variation. This is one of those weird occurrences where like PBR can't really do this. Like if I were to tell you just make the metalness white and it's all metal, you would not be able to get these subtleties unless you pushed it through the roughness in a way where it starts to be noticeable. Maybe you could support it with albedo changes as well. But this is where like you get gray values in your metalness, which PBR is not accurate enough yet to portray. I would say go for making it look good. I would go for making it look like what you're trying to build. The lighter version is definitely better to me. And I think the scratching or like the machining lines that are in the metal is probably needs to be, I don't even think it's machining lines. It's like a brushed metal. They're going to be much finer details. And the ones near the edge with the saw itself is going to be where it's like really crispy, like you have now. So there would be a difference between this one and this one. Whereas like these ones are being caused by actual things rubbing against the metal as you saw through it. Yeah. Yeah, this type of information feels strange with the metal being so dark. Metal in albedo is actually quite bright. Oh, that's cool though. Some good references as well. There's a lot of stuff going on in this wood material. But yeah, awesome. Okay, cube. Look at this. Thinking about calling this one done. All the assets are mega scans other than the main asset. But yeah, I wanted to make a small environment for my main asset, and I feel happy with this. Of course, I'd appreciate some feedback to see if I can push it more. Uh, let's see here. So the subsurface of the candles is maybe a bit strong, so it's really separating itself out from the rest of the environment. The texture like resolution, the textile density of the rocks behind your prop, they're so different that it kind of distracts you from the difference, or it distracts you from your prop because you can see that the resolution and the geometry is just a little bit lower. I'd focus on bringing those up resolution wise, or maybe toning down the brightness on it and get the focus all on your main prop. The material for the main prop looks pretty good. I think, yeah, it's just resolution difference that's really distracting. I might even blow these candles out and just have it just be wax. Yeah, the transition here, I'm thinking the sharpness can go away if you just lower how much subsurface scattering is actually going through the entire candle. You just want to get that separation to not feel so like different environment wise. Like this feels like it's in a different environment than the ground right now. And anything you can do, like these like little clover like flower or like leaves you've got down here, if you put some of those in front of this, it'll break that line as well, which helps like connect it a bit more to the environment it's placed in. I would probably see if you can dirty these up to match a little bit closer. Oh, bad. I'm sleepy. Yeah, I would dirty these up just a little bit more to get it more in line with the aging of this. Maybe even change the color so it looks like they more so belong together. It's like unifying the scene a bit. I wouldn't hesitate to take this wall and push it further back and then use like a cinematic camera and use a camera focus on this and just let the background blur a little bit. Do you need a pillow? I had a pillow right before the stream. It was nice. That's how I say taking a nap. I had a pillow. Yeah, I think if the candles were toned down or just off, it would help. Because you want things to not draw too much attention, but unify the scene together. Look like they're part of the same environment, or that they're related together. That's why I talk about these props also being either similar in color or similar in aging, or both, just to try and pull everything together. But I like the inclusion of the leaves in the back here. It's cool. It's like a piece of wood back here. That's interesting. In general, though, it's a pretty cool scene, considering it's like, to me, this is a great way of using mega scans, is it's like there to support the asset that you're actually making. Just remember to tune things so that they incorporate with the rest of the scene and work with your prop instead of like feeling separate. That's probably the hardest part about using other people's content. All right, Plex. Hey, I'm trying to recreate. Where are we at here? I'm trying to recreate the mood of a cubicle office in the 80s. Yo. Oh my God. Yeah. I wouldn't say I was in a cubicle in the 80s. More like waiting to be born in 85. Be grateful for any tips on lighting. Man, lighting in these types of environments are pretty oof. You know? Would be grateful for any tips on lighting. Also, I'm making project pretty long, so I would be grateful for any feedback, as I can be missing things. Also make more assets. Work on walls textures by using vertex paint and going to add some foliage. So if you add foliage, I would probably add it in the way that an office would add it. You know what I mean? Like maybe they put some plants above here that kind of are above, or like a planter that's just to the side that that isn't owned by anyone. Oh my God, you've got the Rolodex. Dude, there's some great props you got going on in here. So, okay. So let's look at the macro picture right now. So you've got tons of windows together and then a door. And then on this side you have just windows repeating throughout. Try and think about what would be against this wall instead of like uh, this repeating pattern. Like maybe here it wouldn't be a window. Maybe it would be like a doorway to another hallway. Breaking it up so that there's not windows throughout the wall would be really good. Maybe you do like 2 windows and then a long stretch of wall and a door, or like 2 windows and a door, so that like those 2 windows are showing the room. Even if you don't show it, that's connected. It explains the door and the connection of the windows as one room, right? With the other image, you get this vibe of like this is like a main meeting room, and you probably want a doorway closer to it. Maybe the windows are a bit high. I would definitely look at scale and like see, place a character and just see what things feel like. Now, when it comes to the rest of the scene, we look at the ceiling lights. I would probably, you're doing a pretty good job of, I think I can see, hang on. Let's see if I can do this. Yeah, you're doing the tube lights in there. That's great. It's subtle, but it's there. Oh man, this is weird. I would try and make them just a little bit more distinguishable from each other. I think as well, these type of lights are often more spaced out from each other. Um, they don't go all the way to the edge of the wall either. I would see if you can find some like cubicle references. Just cubicles. Oh no, I got couples in the 80s. Cubicles. That is not what I want to Google. Come on, man. Yeah, so see the ceiling? Even just this, these are longer and they're spaced out. Like in the 80s, they were really like long panels. They weren't perfectly square, which I can see why they went to perfectly square in the future. It becomes much more of a pain to work with. So getting those lights to be bigger and longer, it looks like one of these is 4 of yours. I would correct that, and I'd get them further away from the wall. Otherwise, feels pretty good. You can see there's this pattern that happens too, where they down the way, so you get that pattern happening pretty quickly. Yeah. Let's see what else we got going on here. Dude, cubicles, man. My God, I'm so glad I'm not in one. Other thing I would probably say, maybe last thing, since we've got a bit of a queue of stuff to get through, is the darkness of materials. Anything that you've got really dark just needs to go up in brightness a bit. Like these are just a hair too dark. Maybe this is too saturated. I would love to see like a albedo only view of this, just to get like a sense of where they're at in the range. You've got some good like tag stuff going on here for like the folders and those types of details. I would see if you can get any other information in there that helps with like. See if I can find another image. Like there's a lot of binder stuff going on. Let me see if you've got. Because you have these, but these weren't used nearly as much as binders. Dude, the cigarette tray there though, that's it's gold. Really love this computer too. The paper feels a little strangely placed. Dude, that mouse though. Bro. This screen, is this screen older than the 80s? I feel like no, this is accurate. This is accurate. Man, I don't even know. That's there's a vibe going on here. Maybe the manila folders are a little too yellow. Holy. Is that a that's a Lod 3 mouse. You should have this cup say Monday on it. Yeah, I think I've reached a point to move on. Really cool though. Maybe some spots on the table. Yeah. Or maybe like a slight discoloring in the chair to show that like kind of like what's going on here. Get a little bit of that happening here. Just, you know, people sitting there all the day, every day in and day out. Going all cubicle. Really cool. It'll be interesting if you tone down the lights as well. These lights, these underlights for the shelving are really going to pop out a lot more. Yeah. All right, Rex. This is my latest or my last iteration for my environment for my master's degree. Need help with the lighting. I'll put the original reference too. Okay, so we got original reference. Dude, look at those tracers in the sky. Yo. Let's see here. Man, you're getting characters in there too? The characters really do a lot. Let me just select some of these and close them here. Right, so you've got this like ground fog going on. I think if you were to get like a height fog going on around the foot level, that could be quite interesting and get some of the elements of the ground to pop out, like the boxes and or containers. Um, this space is extremely dark. I think we probably need to focus on the color of the lights. So these lanterns, what's the temperature that these lights would cubicles motivated trigger warning on vid. Figure out the temperature for these types of lights. We look at the concept. The sky's quite dark, and this area is much brighter, other than the fires, of course. I think if you were to go the other way around and maybe make the sky a bit darker, that could do a lot. A bit warm, but not too much. I think right now they feel quite cold, honestly. And I think it might be because the environment generally is cold. So it's contributing to a cooler general feel around the lights. Are those lights casting shadows? It doesn't really feel like there's much shadow play going on in here. Yeah, low ground fog would be nice. These look great. This has a great mood as well. So, of course, it's raining in this shot. I don't think you want it raining, but you definitely need some, like, I would say this is part of lighting, but you need variation in your roughness for the lighting to have stuff to play with, right? So metal elements or things that are wet, or like even like these sandbags, for example. Imagine doing a wetness pass where the sandbags are all kind of wet, But you can think about the water soaking into the sandbag itself, that at the base of each sandbag, it would probably be more saturated with water. So the roughness would be slightly different on the underside of these bags. Getting everything a little bit more damp is going to give you more color in your albedo. So keep that in mind if you add any wetness masks or wetness in your roughness, that the albedo is going to be more saturated and darker. But generally, I mean, this is feeling pretty good. It's just, it's really subtle with the lighting right now. I would go a bit more extreme with maybe the lanterns. Let me see if we can. Old metal. Is that just a gas lantern or what is that? It's an old rustic metal gas lantern. Because you want to see what it's casting, like how far it casts out, and the temperature that's around it. See, generally they're like, these are, and maybe, I mean, maybe this has been photo edited to be a little bit more yellow or warmer than normal. But really getting it to cast on the inside of it, like they don't look like they're emitting any light right now. Yeah, definitely do some research on your light sources and think about how the surfaces can interact with the lighting more. So because your roughness is so mid-range and higher, you're not getting a lot of like surface play when it comes to the lighting, like how the light behaves on the surface of your props. But yeah, I hope that helps. Oil lantern, are they oil? They're probably oil, given this this time. Cool, it's dope. Is it Shayla or Shila? Hey, would love some feedback on this scene. So here's the reference. I had a mentee a long time ago that worked on this scene. Would love some feedback on the scene, especially on textures and anything to improve it in general. Oh, I'm already in love with your texture work. There's a bit of the way that these stones are laid out feels a bit generated. Maybe it's because the chipping is very similar throughout, and they're all like perfectly rotated. But when you're blending it with another texture, it really has like it's a nice feeling to it. The wood material looks really good as well. Oh yeah, this is gonna be good. I can feel it. Your blockout is extremely strong. Oh wow, look at that. So what I do like about the concept that you're currently not doing in your blockout is you can see the light source is a little bit lower than the actual like cylindrical shape that's near it. I think by bringing yours down a little bit, you might get a little bit more of an interesting visual. Oh, it's gonna be rad though. I can feel it. I would probably take the time to block out all of the like smaller props because you have a lot of like of the macro feel down, and these are like starting to get into the smaller details. I would like just extrude those shelves out and start generating all of the books and whatnot. The other thing I would do is probably, like I was saying earlier with another piece, is wherever you have the wood material, you can already tell what color it's going to be, right? It's going to be this a bit more reddish. I would get that in your blockout as just a color, because that'll help you tune the color of your lights a little bit earlier if you want. Yeah, the in the reference they're definitely warmer. Man, that's really cool. Really cool. Does this work? It doesn't look like it. Let me see if I can. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna be right back. Is this even working? Looks like it. We'll see. Oh no, I misclicked. But yeah, I will be right back. I just need to make this scale up. This reference you have is super cool. Okay. Okay, I'll be right back. 2 seconds. Hello. Okay, so truth be told, I had really good Chinese food earlier, and my body's like, nah, man, nah. Okay, now that we're done with TMI story, let's keep going. Yeah, Madu was harassing me too. He's scratching the door. He's like, "Yeah, you gonna let me in?" All right. So let's talk about colors. I think if you get some general colors in here, it's gonna go a long way for just getting everything kind of in tune. He wants to stream. It's true. Oh, there's like sand coming out of here too. There's some swords in there. See, there's all these like little smaller details. Getting those in, this is gonna be sick. I'm really excited to see where you take this because it looks really good already. With the straight edges that you have in your blockout, find every opportunity to either bevel them or add props or details that allow you to break those edges so you lose that laser line, you know? It's gonna be important. Cool. All right, Jamie. Dude, bro, Jamie, dude, guy, bro. Uh, Here's what I have so far for the challenge post on Monday. It's coming up fast. Let's see what we got going on here. We got your thumbnail. Thumbnail looks nice. We got some trim sheet breakdowns. These look good. I don't know if you need, hang on here. Oh, I see why. I think it actually would be more interesting instead of the cube version to use this cylinder and then the flats from it. And then watch out for like cylinders, like having a tangent line on the texture. The posters are actually really cool. Yeah, the posters are really cool. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I could comment on to make them a little bit stronger. But I like the kind of style and language you chose with the line that cuts the shot and then elements breaking those lines. Maybe the DI logo and the museum logo could be half the size, just a little bit smaller. They feel a little out of scale with the text. That's maybe the only thing I would comment on. But like presentation wise, yeah, this looks nice. Again, I wouldn't use the cubes. I would probably just opt for the cylinders and then the texture flats next to it, and then another cylinder and texture flats next to it. I think it'll just present better. And you can see a little bit more of like how the material responds to lighting because it's not on a flat surface, you know? Really nice though. Really nice. Zamber. We got Zamber's up next here. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Okay. This is dope. Tangent lines. So I would avoid, like I would move this plant a little bit more to the right just to widen this gap a little bit more. Maybe push this a little further back so it's away from the text here. I like how you're presenting the spot. I would maybe do a similar presentation to the trim sheet stuff here. So right now you've got this post, you've got this one, and then you've got your two texture. And I think you could take these and maybe like collect them in one image. So you take this, have it take up more space on the image, and then have the texture flats on the side here. It's not so much about having high res texture flats to see how you did it, but just a general view of it to understand how you're utilizing the pixels is more interesting. Do you know what I mean? So I think getting away from that gap here, and then taking a plant, making it much bigger, taking the other one, camera closer, ORS, occlusion roughness spec, might be, or subsurface. ORS. No, because you gotta have occlusion right here. Oh yeah, no, it's these three broken down. You see the color. So this is ambient occlusion, this is your roughness, and this is your subsurface scattering. That's cool. The stems for me, I think, are the part that feels the strangest, just because it's very much a gradient. There's not a lot of like textural information in there, and I think you would expect there to be at least like up close not just a gradient, but like maybe some streaks of variation in the colors that are there. But overall, these turned out great. A huge glow up from your original versions, because you took multiple passes at it to get it where it's at now. So you should be extremely proud of these. I am. It's impressive how much you grew over the challenge. Are the texture flats needed? So yes, I think they are. Mainly because it helps me understand, or the viewer understand, how how you constructed these, or how you're utilizing your texture space, how you're dealing with UVs, and any techniques that you may have used are only exposed once you see the texture flats, right? So it's a bit of like a behind the curtains vibe that you get when you look at people's texture flats. It's especially important if you're wanting to be a props artist. I remember I talk about that stuff on stream from time to time, and it always kind of turned into this like my brain going, yeah, maybe I should ask the props lead at work about it. And I did. I decided to. I was like, all right, what are the number one things you feel like need to be in a prop artist portfolio, or like things that you feel like are missing from prop art in general? And it was wireframes and texture flats, and making assets that aren't 4K textures. Like show me your techniques, your skill to make an asset look amazing with like limited resources, if you want to say it like that. I think our next our group challenge will be we'll put some restrictions in there to try and simulate more of that, so that we have to dive into these techniques a bit more. But yeah, this turned out great. You should be extremely proud. All right, next up is kind of wild. Look at that. Oh boy. Okay, so Flo, give me those 512s. It's like, hi, I'm in my final stages of the environment. Currently plan to finish it in about 1 month. Um, does anything bigger stand out negatively or isn't clear? I have some smaller things I want to remake slash finish, but anything about the big picture, thank you. By the way, what do you think about the big tree in the second image on the building? I'm not too sure about it and how realistic it would be. Okay, let's take a peek. So this one feels much more balanced. I would maybe bevel the corner here. Feels a little sharp. Maybe it is beveled. I'm just not seeing it yet, or from this distance. The tree here feels pretty good. It does feel a little dark. I would probably try and balance the albedo, maybe like the lower end of it being a little brighter. Yeah, the micro details going on the surfaces are really cool though. This one is by far one of my favorite shots, because it just looks like a real photo, which is kind of wild. Like it looks Instagrammy, you know what I mean? This one's pretty cool too. This one's got a vibe to it for sure. I like the scale of these stones. They do feel a little soft, and there's some weird dark edge here. Is this because we're doing a displacement and this is like a UV seam? Interesting. Something I noticed. The decals that are under here are maybe a tad too dark. You need to stitch the edges still? Okay. Yeah, the darkness here, I'd probably half that, and maybe just keep to the roughness when it comes to this type of stuff. You want it to feel grounded and not like drawing your attention in a way where you're like, oh, is that what's going on there? You know, right now it feels disconnected in a way. This shot is also pretty cool. Maybe so. This feels a little low poly, and does feel like it would have some accumulation of aging and dirtiness. Ah, I see this tree. That does feel strange. I would probably line the wall, not the railing, but the wall in the back, with these like smaller plants instead. So it kind of looks like someone comes out on their balcony and they've just got a few plants up there. Yeah, the griminess is maybe a little strong. It's fine that it's there. It's just a tad too dark, I think. Maybe getting some more atmosphere in there to separate the elements a bit. Like this building and the building behind it are starting to be kind of close in their range, for how visible they are to each other. So you start your brain just kind of melts it all together as detail. Whereas like if you can actually this is a perfect opportunity for me to practice Affinity Photo. Let's delete that. Man, this is it's definitely different. All right, so I'm gonna dupe that one. I'm gonna take this one. Oh, nice. You can just frame like that. So like taking, let's say we turn the gamma up on it a little bit. It's like faking the atmosphere, right? And then maybe we can make like a mask on top of this. Like group it in there. Is this gonna work? Let me see. Yes. Nice. And then masking. I no longer have the AI masking tools. This is gonna be rough. Oh yeah. I guess honestly we're looking for separation here, right? But let's see. Can I just add? Oh no. Is this adding? No. I don't know how to add. Oh, there we go. Yeah, cool. Nice. So just inverting that, you can see like how much that affects the separation, right? And of course you do it here as well. Oh, this is so funny. Like, what am I doing? I know what I'm doing. There we go. Sick. Next level. You can see how much that does for the image. And look how much you can see in here now. Feels just a little bit more natural. But yeah, that's cool. Really nice. I would do it with distance fog. Joe, yeah, did you see my tweet about it, Joe? There's some pretty interesting stuff with it. So it wasn't like, hey, I'm gonna abandon Adobe and their subscription because I'm still doing like the substance stuff because there's no option for that right now. But like, dude, there's some cool stuff you can do with alpha control. I'll show that. So that was the last critique. We got about 30 minutes. Oh, it crashed. We got about 30 minutes, so I'm gonna dabble a little bit here. If anyone posts anything, I'll feedback on it. We got a little bit of time. Whoa. Would you like to help him? No. Let's just like, I don't know, 512. 512. So one thing you have to get used to, this is probably the weirdest part for people who are used to Photoshop, is everything already comes with a composite alpha. It comes with an alpha channel already, right? So just to illustrate that, you can see when you start like a Photoshop file, usually you have a pixel layer or like a initial layer, and it's white, right? So Affinity starts without any layers. And when you go to the document, you can actually, oh, we got Angelina. We got posting. Okay, we'll look at yours next. So if we go like transparent background, you can see that it actually is transparent from, because why not? Nice. It's transparent from the get-go. So there's no transparency, or there is transparency in your export if it's like a PNG, right? And when you paint, so if I paint this, you can actually see that there's actually a mask already generated from it. So when a pixel exists, the pixel actually has the alpha already built into it. So that already is quite interesting. And because of that, I mean, if we go and like move this around, right? That means that the alpha responds accordingly. So they're connected, right? So think about it as this is compositing all of your RGB and your alpha together. Now, this, to me, the cool part is when I add a mask layer and I paint in that, you can see it's masking out everything under it. And when I press like, what is it, V, the move tool, or like the move tool, if I select that mask and I move it, you can see the composite mask is actually still being affected by this. And I can even copy and paste and select individually, move these around, rotate stuff. Pretty sick. Now, of course, if I go in and like, let's go back to here, reset this. If I go in and move this, these are all stuck here. But I could take all of these and drag them on top of this, and now it's actually parented them to this. So now this moves with it. So there's a whole lot of control and a ton of like non-destructive workflows that can be developed around alpha that I used to wish I had in Photoshop. Tons of control. And you can treat this as like a mask for color as well. So like if we go in here and I just paint like, these are nice too, having these sliders here. So if I close this and I paint red, paint red here, you can see it's happening and it's staying inside of the parent, but it's going over the mask. If I put this at the bottom, it will behave or adhere to all of the mask information above it. And you can get live previews if you drag stuff around without dropping it, which is really handy as well. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And I can still move this. It's wild. I was like, wow, that's I never thought I needed this much control with alpha. And maybe in a lot of cases it'll be a little bit overkill. But it's really powerful. I like having it set up this way. Gives me a lot more control. And by default, all images come in as a smart image, if you want to say it like that. So if I open up, let me copy this image and then see if I can paste it. So I pasted this image, right? And you can see next to it, if it's pixels, then it's rasterized. If it's an image, then it's a smart object. So if I go out here, you can see I can scale it. I can scale it down. And I can get it really small. See, it's just terrible pixels. But because it's a smart object, if I scale it back up, it keeps its resolution. So it always has its original It'll always have its original size. And if I just drag it in here, look, now it's being masked correctly. Man, yeah, it's wild. There's some weird stuff, man. There's a lot of like, was that copy pasted in? Yeah, I just copied it from Discord and then pasted it over. Really, really nice stuff. And all the channels are grayscale, which is nice. I never really liked that the channels were colored. That's pretty sick. And if you want, you can save it in PSD as well. Cool. Okay, let's keep moving here. We've got 2 pieces to look at now. All right, so Angelina, you posted your scene. How sick. How sick. Let's go. Oh, the end result's pretty good. Pretty nice. Ooh, I like this one. Oh man, with the foreground elements. Oh, that's cool. Wow, the head turned out great. So, some critiques on the trailer just or the video for you. There's a lot of fading to black and fading out of black, and it happens at the end of your panning often. And usually what you're panning towards, I want to look at, but it starts to fade away before I even get a chance to really like soak it in. So like I want to look at that face, but it takes, it happens so quickly. This is also really cool, but the camera is moving at a rate that makes it difficult to focus on the details that I'm wanting to look at. So I feel like I'm chasing the shot instead of absorbing it. Ooh, this turned out great. Oh, that turned out so nice. Yo, that's sick. Nice. This looks really good. This is really nice. Oh, this is cool. Showing some like some of the technical side of like what you put together. Love it. Nice. It's a good breakdown stuff. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. This is great too with the breakdown. Nice. This is a very well put together post. It for the most part has everything you're looking for when you want to see how stuff was put together. I would like to see something like texture wise broken down just so we can understand how you're doing a lot of your masks or material work. But it's really nice. You have a nice balance of like macro shapes and micro shapes, like all these like little tiny things. And the decal that you have here for the splattered sand. Splattered, maybe not the right word for it. Oh, nice. Really cool. Yeah, you got a lot of control in here, don't you? Oh my gosh. What's the watt? What is the watt? WAT? Really sick. It's interesting that you're wanting to choose the color of the dust. Because I feel like dust would be controlled by like a variable that's very exposed to everything. And so when you adjust that, it's good to go. Unlit and roughness. No, not necessarily that. Like the assets, like a global dust. Yes, thank you, Vince. And then all of your shaders are plugging into it. So if you want to change the color of the dust, of course it would change the color of the sand because the dust and the sand are going to be coming or deriving from similar materials. What's up, nature? Really sick though. Really good stuff. Love all the breakdowns you've done here. I think seeing how you did this box would be enough. Like the UVs, the texture flats, and showing like the different material type or maps, different maps. Really cool. Congratulations. My watch is trying to listen in on me. All right, Adam. Hello, starting a new scene to focus on tileable materials, trim sheets, shaders, and blending. Some of the props are from the Unreal Marketplace. It would be great to get feedback on the overall layout, scale, and initial materials, and blending of bricks. And advice on lighting would be super helpful. This looks great. The blending of the materials is actually really nice. There's a lot that you could do with the larger surfaces like this. But the attention to, like, even with this material not being your material yet, just the decal work you're doing around it is doing a lot. Is the ground, I'm assuming that's like, it looks displaced. Yeah. Is it displaced in the sense that, like, is that terrain and you're using a concrete material for it? Such an effective approach. But, or is it like a, I don't know, like a Unreal modeled mesh with a displacement material on it? That was really cool. I would continue getting all of your elements in and just get them all balanced after you get the textures in. Similar, awesome. Hell yeah. Isn't that a nice like way of getting fidelity and then being able to move it around? So good. It's so nice. Yeah, I would just keep going with your props and see what you can do with like I guess I think the only downside with the displacement that we're talking about here is if you wanted to do a decal and actually have it affect the displacement, using terrain would probably make it easier to do that. Unless you can write the height information and the albedo and roughness information from the terrain, then you could RVT it to your mesh and then still have the displacement turned on. Maybe that would work. Because then your decals could write directly to the surface. That's what you want to do with the leaves decals? Yeah, so getting leaves in here is going to be really nice. Don't hesitate to get some geometric leaves in here, like actual model leaves. There's some nice ones on Megascan that are pretty good to just use. This is quite interesting, this barrier thing going on here. I would probably make it less of a perfect fit so that it feels a little bit more natural in its placement. And then figuring out what to do with these wires and stuff. Don't forget like little power boxes and like, yeah, like this. Getting those types of details in spots where it just makes sense for you is going to be key. This trash bin feels extremely short. This feels really small as well, actually. Like I would expect this to be maybe about this tall. And these are huge. These are huge. Like they're not meant to be like these are so big that some businesses have tools to use like a hook here to push it open so that they could throw their trash in it and then they pull it away. Like some people use brooms to do it because like they're designed for you to not want to climb, like be too high to climb into, but of course if you really want to you could still. And then there's the little inserts on the sides for a vehicle to come in and like dump it. Really cool though. Yeah, think about all the trash that could be spilled out here as well. There's lots of like little micro details you can do on the surfaces, but I think you already have an idea of that, just given how you're approaching your materials here. Oh, Poodlestein posting some stuff as well. Let's go. But really nice so far. I'll be curious to see what you do with the back wall here. Don't hesitate to add some graffiti. And this metal railing, bend it a little bit somewhere. Ninja post. Let's go. Oh, wait. Oh, you guys can hear it. Okay, cool. Oh my God. Wow. What? Get out. Dude, that's so cool. Yeah, I see the broken idol that you're talking about. It sounds like snow in here too, which is kind of interesting. The building creep continues. Looks cool though, man. Is it still displacing the snow when you step in it? I assume so. Man, that's sick. You gotta get it on some flatter terrain just to like not have it look so strange. That is really cool, man. You overscoped a little and collision is going wild. Story of our lives, man. Or IK the hell out of it. Dude, that's really cool. First one took 35 minutes. Teaser, anyone? Teaser? Teaser? That's the hot sauce. Really cool. Okay. We got 11 minutes. Do you guys have any questions? You want to talk about anything? Anything and everything? I am here. I am here. If not, I will vaporize. I don't know if we want that. Will I vaporize? Can I return after I vaporize? That's a question. Favorite fast food? Taco Bell. I love Chinese food. There's a Chinese restaurant outside of Malmo called Svidala. It's in Svidala. You're a sucker for Wendy's? Not hot dogs? Dude, hot dogs they're just hot dogs, man. What about Thai food's good too? How's the little emperor doing? We could grab him here in a minute. He's nice and long. I'm like, is he here? He has a little spot like right here. But he's not there. He's probably chilling on the couch with Maddie. Yeah, in Svidala, it's about 20-minute train ride from Malmo. There's a place called Golden Crown. It's like Szechuan cuisine. Holy crap. I don't think I've ever had food that good from that type of food. It's just so good. And if you know the language, you can order from their special menu. You've been thinking about working on a personal project soon. Probably just use mega scans. Any suggestions for what I should make? Oh man. I feel like I should not answer that. Because like it's your personal project. If you pick it, you're more likely to finish it than if I tell you what you should make. Do I watch House of Dragons? I don't actually. I watched the original Game of Thrones, but then I was like, okay, I'm done. Impersonal project time. Valid, valid. But yeah, I don't know. It's like, dude, Thai food though. Thai food's good too. So I actually quite like Swedish food because it's usually heavy and creamy. Usually has some form of meat, but then like also a really good selection of vegetables. Food's gonna kill me, guys. I love food too much. Joe, you want to see Mario? Sure, you want to see Mario? Yeah, okay, yeah. Hole in the wall Chinese places are usually amazingly good. All right, I'll be right back. How do I do this? Uh. Oh, Mario. This? Oh. Whoa, you're so long, dude. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. That. Then the mic. Licky lick. Yeah. No. Okay. Whoa. Yeah. Yeah, he's awesome. Oh boy. Okay. I think we should he's a long boy. Okay, I got a video for you. Hang on here. You heard of Long Long Man? Be prepared if you can. Okay, there you go. Sent you a link. I'll talk to you in general chat about it. Actually, I'll just post it in general chat too. All right, gentle peeps. I'm going to get out of here. Have a good weekend. A good Friday tomorrow. And enjoy that video. I'll see you in general chat. All right. Later, guys. Also, thank you for all the stuff you posted. It's really sick. Really good work.